Okay, welcome to my StarMade tutorial video series. Today I will be doing a small power tutorial. Just the bare bones basics. I will be continuing on to do more advanced topics as I go along. Right now I have spawned in a core. For those that are relatively new to the game, you do that by pressing X with a ship core in your inventory. Now, when you enter the ship core for the first time, you will enter build mode. I am actually currently starting off on a brand new, fresh map of StarMade, so the items in inventory I have would be what anyone would start with. You may, if you get onto certain servers, start with different materials. That is because the servers have changed the file to give you either more or less materials. Now, first things first, the power reactor. You need this to power your ship. Each block produces approximately 100 recharge a second at the smaller core sizes. I've actually not done the math just quite yet, but it does seem that for the most part keeps up, only adding a little bit of efficiency as you build a bigger reactor core. Alright, now we've got a 10 long reactor core here. This will put out for us oh wait, no, it says I got 11. Alright, now we've got 10. As I said, 10 blocks. Integrity is something that is important. You do want to keep that up. Building in a straight line does not help with integrity. You actually want to build cubes. Moving on, you have your recharge, which is 1,000, which you have 10, so 10 times 100, 1,000. We don't have any consumption at the current moment because we don't have any systems. We are at 100% stabilization and with no buffer. StarMade for small ships has made it so this, for a very small ship, is all you will need for power. You shouldn't need much more than this. Now, if you want to add stabilization, say you're trying to make a miner and get some decent amount of mining beams going on for you, you will want to add stabilization so you can go a little bit beyond your power core's capabilities. Stabilization, to be effective, has to be a certain unit away from the main core. As you can see, reading through down the middle stats here, underneath the place remove icon, the third stat down is the stabilization efficiency of the block placed. Right now, right on top of the reactor is 20%, which means this will provide 20% of the amount of stabilization it would normally give. Now, as you move further away, you'll notice the percentage increases until you get to 100%, which for this server is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks away. This would be the standard config. Now, here you will see the block is at 100%. And our stabilization is now still at 100% with a buffer of 10%. As we add more stabilizers, we will go up to 100% stabilization with 100% buffer. Now, why adding stabilization is important is once you go past 10 blocks, your stabilization pretty much, and the distance the stabilizers have to go away, will greatly increase. As you will see, the percentage now I am getting on these is only 20% of what they used to be. And they still want to be, as you can see on this line, quite a distance away. That distance can be found by building out your ship, and turns to about 29 away, which is considerably bigger than the previous 6 away. This factor happens until you get to about a reactor core size of about 60 to 70. After that point, the factor does start moving down considerably. Now, why you want stabilization is, as you see right now, we're only at 68%, even though we have all that lovely stabilizer there. But if we had more stabilizer here, in the green zone, well, not completely in the green zone, that stabilization will go right back up, and now we've got stabilization fully with 18% buffer. This is way more power than the ship will need to begin with. I'll add 2 simple systems here real quick. Simple salvager and a simple thrust. Now, right now I'm getting 2,000 recharge as I have placed 20 blocks down. If I go to the power core and hit R, it'll pull up the reactor menu. Another way to achieve this is to hit Tab, go to Ship, and go to Reactor. This allows you to enter your reactor menu. Your trees I will explain later in a different video when I go over the cores. First up would be your priority. Priority is what systems get power first. If your ship is barely making enough power to power everything and going into its buffer and stabilization buffer, then the game will pick whichever systems you prioritize to get power first, which can make other systems not get power. The further down they are, the less likely they are to get power. Functionality pretty much just activates things. It's a triggering system. If you trigger it, it will activate said systems. Active effects, this will tell you different effects and different abilities when your ship has them that are applied to your systems. Disabled, again, similar to active effects, will list any systems that you currently have that you have disabled. And last but not least, which I think that gets done in functionality. But anyways, back to consumers. Consumers is a very important tab, as it will tell you, actually, what your systems consume for power. As you can see here, a jump inhibitor takes 100,000, salvaging unit takes 9.9 when resting, current charging is 45. We have some others down here. Now, part of the reason why this is the G menu here, most of the systems are not coming up in the or being powered is reactor. They have not been either added into the menu or they were taken away from the menu. So now you can see jump add-on, which is your jump drive, takes 142.5, sorry, decimal places. They are a crucial thing. And the scanner will take 121.25 power. When resting, they take 0. This resting power can affect certain systems. When your jump inhibitors, if you have one is resting, it takes a lot of power. Now this ship's putting out 2,000. So even if everything in this column here was running, you wouldn't touch 100% power usage. Now, where stabilizers come into effect more often than not is when this column, when everything's running, isn't doing it. Your normal power generation is not doing it. Stabilization allows you to get a larger area of buff before your systems start charging slower or being less, taking less power. Pretty much, your stabilization helps your systems on your priority, the lower down ones, get some power before you pretty much get all before your system pretty much crashes and everything starts charging at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% slower, depending on how much power is actually being drawn. Now, this also leads up to another way to design a ship, which is a multi-core ship. You can, due to your health rate being based off of your core size, build a small core that will power everything when resting, and when certain systems like jump and thrusters are powered, and giving them enough juice and the ship enough juice, like shields and other things like that. But if you try to fire the guns or anything like that, it will go into the stabilization and almost wreck your power generation. But what you do is you set up a second core, which I can show you right here by taking this core apart. Boop. And adding it back over to here. Alright. Now, what happens here is this core is currently active, and you can switch it to the secondary core. Another core, which means this core is now active. Both cores can power the ship completely and 100%, and it gives you a lot more stabilization. And I've been bumped. Lovely. Gotta love spawn ships. The NPC ones. Anyways, but if you see here, because both sets of stabilization blocks are being counted, we have a stabilization of 100% plus 190% buffer. Meaning we've got a lot more power that we can pull from when we are using systems. Now, last but not least, for basics, this beam right here that you see, you need to protect it. If dang it, wrong button. Stop. If I hop out of my ship and you see the lovely power usage here is so much and so great, it's at 0.09. If you shoot and disrupt that beam, you will see the power is flickering ever so much. Barely doing anything, but it is doing something. What happens is, when this beam gets hit by an attack, be it an NPC ship firing at you, be it your friend jokingly just firing through the beam with their weapon, it goes into and affects the integrity and stabilization of your reactor that's currently active. Meaning, if you were at a whole bunch of power, you're using a whole bunch of power, and that beam gets broken, your stabilization will get hit pretty hard because your reactor turns off for, well, a blip. As you can see, it's not very long, well, in a reactor this size. I do believe as the reactor gets larger, the time variable does get does get longer. Now, if you were getting hit with one of your reactors, you can always switch to another to try to not get the beam hit. Now, each stabilizer has a beam that goes between it and the reactor. So if we go back into our little build mode here, effective way to protect the beam is to make sure beam is through your middle of your ship, or through the most protected portions of your ship. So pretty much if that beam does get hit, you know your ship is SOL. Now, a good little thing about the new power system as of the latest update, which, side note, anytime they do modify or change or make this video irrelevant, I will be updating it. I don't feel it's too hard of a video. The way I'm doing these is not too hard or too time consuming per video. So if major changes for one particular video happen, I will switch it up and replace it. But if you go through on reactors, say this one is our current reactor that's active. Notice these lovely little planes that have been existing this whole time. If you go, and place additional reactor on a different plane, 3, 4, 9, 10, you will have an efficiency gained. I will show it here real quick. Each reactor that to gain this efficiency stabilizer has to be the same size. Stabilizers don't have to be the same size as your reactor, they just get more oomph. Now, this should be, yep, and if you'd see here, it is slightly, as before, our reactor went here. I can now place it one block closer, and we get efficiency. Now, as you go 5 up to both sides and down from the reactor, so pretty much all planes, this efficiency increases, meaning you can build a bigger reactor in a smaller space. You just have to place your stabilizers into the different planes of the reactor. So place here, here. Now this is not giving to the bonus because they are not the same size as the other stabilizers, but if I were to remove all of 2 here, two here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, I will gain, again, some minor efficiency. Now, since this reactor is at its smallest phase, you're probably noticing it's not getting much efficiency. Now, where did those reactor cores go? Oh yeah, I built a second one. They're not getting near as much efficiency as you'd think. But when I move out, put another one here. You'll notice this here from before. Actually, just about the same size. Odd. Well, guess it's not working 100%, which, well, that's StarMade for you. do what it says to do, and it'll throw a monkey wrench at you. Okay. We will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, here we go. And let's check our stabilization. We are actually, even though this reactor is supposed to have stuff very far away from it for stabilization, even though we have scrunched these in, so they should be they should be much further away. They should be out over here, since they are about, I'd say a third is close, maybe 25% is close, around there. Actually, they were supposed to be 25 away. They're only 5 away, so that'd be a fifth of what they're supposed to be. They are still getting a decent buffer without as much extra space. Now, like I said, with small ships, I don't find this as an advantage, as if you're building a small ship for transportation, the 10 core is probably as big as you're going to need it. If you are building a cargo ship or a mining ship or anything like that, to actually gain efficiency and actually be able to transport your cargo and all of that, which I will explain in later videos, it's pretty much boiled down to a go big or go home strategy with ship design. So building a small ship for some basic mining is fine, but your power core is not gonna like you if you're trying to build huge systems anymore. You can build out to your systems. This will show you the beams all going out to the different... Oops. As you see, the beams adjust based on the center of mass of the reactor, which you can now see the buffer is over 8,000%, or 855%. So, yeah. It's some basic reactor design. Next video I will do, which I will probably make tomorrow, will be dealing with chambers. Yay! And how to use them with your ship. Now, couple side notes. I am doing this project for fun. I am doing it more because I have people that play this game that have used to play this game and have come to me and go, "What's up with this new power?" And I've explained it to enough people, new and old, that I feel there's enough need for this to be out there. So I'm just going to be putting these out. Like I said, I will update them if the topics I cover in each video become outdated. By the time I am done with this series, or the basic series, I will put up a blueprint on the Star Dock of a basic ship for anyone that's wanting to start out on a server, and I will go through a basic tutorial video of how to get that ship and put it up in. I think I've already mentioned my next video will be on the chambers, and I think that is all for right now. Goodbye.